Hello, Ruby Shoers. We are at Adelaida Cellars, one of the oldest vineyards on the Central Coast, and I'm joined with two of the pro team members here. Cynthia Nixon, yes, just like Sex and the City, Cynthia Nixon, except in this case you're one of the winemaking team, and Paul Sowerby is,
Hi.
you're kind of the dude around here. You make sure that Adelaida is kind of known nationwide, and that is the case. And you have
I try that, yes.
Yes. As you can see, we have a huge selection of wines here, and that's because Adelaida puts out so many. It was really a treat to be able to put to our 6 bottle members a variety of wines instead of just doubling you up. Adelaida has some of the oldest vines in Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo County, especially your Pinot Noir vines.
Absolutely. The Adelaida owns all the original vines from what was known as HMR, or Hoffman Mountain Ranch, which was around in the late 70s. And the Pinot Noir is a historical planting. It was planted in 1964. So they're just about 50 years of age, which definitely qualifies. There's no legal definition of the term old vines, but I think what's generally respected is 50 years to be called old vines. Works. And these are the oldest Pinot Noir plantings throughout Paso Robles, San Luis County, and the whole of Santa Barbara County.
Wow. And you were saying that when we were talking earlier, Cynthia, that these aren't grafted vines. These are basically purebreds.
Purebred, unrooted, not grafted onto Native American rootstocks. So they don't have that added protection against phylloxera, which is very rare around the world. So if you know your history, you know that phylloxera wiped out most of the vines in all of Europe, and then of course in the Americas too. So
But we
it's a
have
special
them.
place.
We have them right here, and the Pinot is fantastic. You'll see it when you sip it. Okay, we have a lot of wine to sample, so I want to get right to it.
It's a rough job.
It's a rough job that we all have today, but we're up for it. Okay, let's start with your version rosé. Now, we talked a little bit about this. Go ahead and pour. At Calcareous, a lot of people say they didn't know they liked rosés until they try some of the ones that are being produced today. They've changed over the years, right? It's sort of like they've been rebirthed, at least to, cheers,
Right.
at least to what most people know.
Right. I think for a long time, when people saw pink wine, the immediate thought was white Zin, Beringer white Zin, which is not necessarily a bad wine, it's just a different animal than what traditional rosé is. So this is, rosé is when we take a bleed juice, or saignée, off of the fruit, the red fruit that comes in initially. And that juice doesn't sit with the skin, so it doesn't get all the color, but then you ferment it like a white wine, and you drink it like a white wine, and it's very delicious, and oftentimes even more complex than many white wines. So.
Nice for a hot summer day, and really nice for fall as well. This isn't a sweet wine.
No, not at all. Very fruity.
What do you like about the rosé, Paul?
Sure, we call it seriously unpretentious.
I like it. Seriously, unpretentious.
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 And rosés are definitely being enjoyed right now. As you say, it's a wonderful summer wine, and it has great application. You can enjoy it a lot going into Thanksgiving here. I mean, it's a good crowd pleaser, delicious turkey wine. And we drink buckets of this stuff around in the summertime. It's, when you get home from work and you want something maybe a little more than a white, but you're not ready for a red wine. And I know Cynthia hates it, but I like it with an ice cube in it.
I was just going to say, I know a lot of people who serve this icy cold poolside at the beach, but I like it room temperature.
Yeah.
It has a wonderful flavor, and
It's really versatile.
it's really versatile, and it's one that won't be around for a long time. So if you like it, order it off the website, because I know the staff here pretty much goes through a lot of what you have.
We save a little bit back for Thanksgiving, but it's definitely gone out of the winery by year end for sure.
Okay, so order now if you like it. All right, let's move on. So the version red you will be getting in the all white shipment. So let's move on to the Finder. Finders Keepers, we have both at Adelaida, but we're starting with the Finder. Explain the name, Cynthia.
Finder?
Yeah.
The name was basically based on a tool used in the mother industry, which is scientific drilling, and that's what they do. They build these specialty drilling bits so that they can find oil in really odd places, directional drilling. And the Finder is an instrument they created to help do that. And so we thought, well, how appropriate. We'll just call this wine the Finder.
Yeah.
And it works.
Could I
Yes. Jump
make a
in.
suggestion? It's Don Van Steenwyck, who's the founder of the company. So he's an inventor, and the Finder and the Keeper were a couple of his inventions. So we thought it'd be makes a lot of sense, and Finder and Keeper, it just seems to have clicked. I mean, people collect a set.
You find a treasure and you get to keep it too. So yeah, the Finder Keeper, if you're looking for a great holiday gift, what a great mix. A red and a white, great names, and you can do all kind of romantic cards with that gift too.
So what we have is we make a couple of selections. The Finder and the Keeper are meant to be more easygoing, pop and
Everyday.
pour, yep, ready to go, priced accordingly. And then they're both Rhone blends, white Rhone grapes and red Rhone grapes. And then the version white and the version red, which are both vineyard designated, are, if I'm allowed to say, they're a little more serious.
Yeah. So the Finder Keeper is a great gift because your price point will be good to buy both of them. They're an everyday drinking wine, but I would not be embarrassed to take this to any party you're invited to over the holidays, either one of them.
I mean, it's from the same vineyards, made in the same way as all our wines.
All right, so cheers. Open this up. I like it. Okay, we can use the spit bucket because we might be in trouble if we
Yes.
taste all of them otherwise.
So moving into the version white.
Okay, so now this is sort of a step up. Now, when you talked about the different vineyard that this came from.
Sure. So the version white has become our main white wine, if you will. I think when these Rhone grapes barely have a decade history in the area, and when these vines were planted, both for red wine and white wine, we and everyone presumed a red wine. Being pastorables, what's blown us away is the quality of these white Rhone varietals.
Right.
So whereas the Finder has got Viognier in it and could have some Marsanne or some Picpoul, more aromatic and fruity and easygoing, what we really feel's worked and is a big winner and been very well received with the version white is that it's a blend of Roussanne and Grenache Blanc. And Cynthia, I'm sure, can elaborate on that.
Right. Well, Roussanne tends to be a bit more viscous, a large wine, and big and fruity, a little heavier than Grenache Blanc. Grenache Blanc likes to be more lean and acidic, and typically. And so what happens is they sort of meet together in the blend and kind of balance each other out, and you end up with a very crisp,
Clean.
with lots of clean minerality and
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of minerality, and then stone fruits actually, like pear and apricot, also tend to come out. in
What
this wine.
I've said is that if you look at the firmament of California white wine, it's a two-horse race: Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc. So, while admittedly these white Rhone grapes are not household names, we believe these are just too good not to become more well-known.
Okay.
And so
The Roussanne.
So while it's not varietally labeled, so you've got to maybe
Look at it.
step outside your comfort zone a little bit, and hopefully it's rewarding insofar as it's called version, because it's our version of a wine like this from the southern Rhone Valley in France, where these are the traditional grapes. A gross generalization would be that it has the richness of Chardonnay and the refreshing, crisp, vibrant elements that you love in Sauvignon Blanc.
Okay.
So it can be a little bit the best of both worlds if you allow yourself to take a chance.
This was my sort of favorite wine this summer, and I was a big Viognier drinker last summer, and I love your Viognier, and I love some of the Viogniers we can get around here. But this was my favorite wine this summer, and you're out of the 2010 version white, but you're not in the Ruby Shoe shop. So order up, because when that's gone, right, it's gone until...
Maybe I will order from you.
There you go. I think I got you covered. Okay, so this is a lovely one, and when I took this back to Iowa and Minnesota for our launch parties, people
I
loved
remember
it.
you were very taken with this wine.
Yeah, I was.
It's become our main white wine.
Okay, Viognier, that's
Vigno.
the one I was talking about as well. I love that. Oh yeah, we're out in the outside. We can just
And here's
Is it rather
sip and toss. I love most of the Viogniers that are produced around here, and your 2010 is fantastic. Tell me about the Viognier, because this is not a real familiar grape to a lot of folks in the Midwest.
Sure. So Viognier is in the family with these other white Rhone grapes I keep talking about, and the principal three of the three, I would say that Viognier is the most well known. It's aromatic, floral. You can always dab a little bit here.
I was just going to say this.
Honeysuckle. It's a very exuberant, flamboyant, absolutely jump out of the glass white wine.
That's probably why I like it. A little flamboyant and jump out of the
Yeah.
glass.
Decadent for a
So,
white, actually.
I'm sure Cynthia can talk about when we were looking to make the version, we fully presumed that the Viognier was going to be a component.
Originally.
Yeah.
Right.
But things
And
change.
then it works so well as a standalone varietal, and it's so strong with its floral and other aromas that it can mask the prettier qualities of Grenache Blanc and Roussanne.
Yeah.
So we thought, well, if we're going to make a standalone white, it ought to be Viognier, and it's made in a style that's it's completely dry. For one thing, a lot of them you find out on the market are sweet, at least a little. So that makes it wonderful for food. And then the like the lychee and the floral and the sort of even graham cracker character just comes out exuberantly in the nose. And I love it as a standalone wine or with food.
Yeah.
So,
Speaking of food, what would you pair a Viognier with?
Sure, we're always asked, and my fallback position is, if the wine's good and the food's good and the company's good, it's probably going to be fine. So yes, there are. It is recognized that because of this spicy and fruity characteristic, that and this is bone dry. You smell it, you think sweet. It is bone dry. It's
Exactly.
extremely overtly fruity. The terms sweetness and fruity often get confused. Exactly. So it's fruity. They say it goes with Asian food. It can handle, spices and ginger.
Ginger,
and,
I could
Chinese,
taste that.
Asian food and Asian cuisine, and so it's recognized as a pairing. It goes with anything that white wines in general go with. Do you want to look back?
Yeah,
and
let's
talk about the other
talk
wines?
about the pairings with the Virgin White and the Finder. We didn't talk about that, but basically any of these are going to go with your Thanksgiving plans, right?
All of these four wines, absolutely.
Yeah.
Fab-
And
yeah.
if
Good-
you really want to pour something unique at Thanksgiving, the Viognier is fantastic because it's just like both of them said. It's like a party in your nose when you do check out the nose of this wine.
It's
but
a real
then it's-
crowd pleaser as well. I mean,
Yeah, but-
Auntie M's going to like it as well.
Auntie M will like it as well as your millennial that's showing up to the party. But it is not a sweet wine, so you smell it and you think, wow, that's going to be a sweet wine. But it's dry and beautiful and crisp, and this will be like you say, a crowd pleaser. But anything in particular with the Finder or the version that you would suggest?
So I can talk about the version. As I say, not to scare people off, but it is a rather more serious wine, and these Rhone varietals do have characteristics, and they're weighty and rich and aromatic. This is a marvelous foil with crustaceans. If you're doing, oysters, anything with crab, shrimp, scallops, it's a marriage made in heaven with anything with any seafood with a shell on its back.
There you go, California
yeah.
wine.
It's beautiful it goes beautifully with that. The Finder, I would say, is I call it a cocktail wine. I mean, it's a lovely place to start with whatever's being put out there.
I like it with white pizza,
Yeah,
with like
yeah.
vegetables and white cream sauce.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
Man, you guys are making me hungry. Okay, so
And then rosé just is.
Rosé, you just stand alone.
You just enjoy it. I mean, not all wine has to be pretentious.
I'm telling you that I'm so pleased with the selection of whites that we have for this shipment, especially this time of year with the Thanksgiving plans and the early parties, the hors d'oeuvres that you're serving all day long. You can go through these four and you're going to have a happy crowd at your house.
I would definitely say that, if I'm allowed to, Adelaida, our whites are very well received, and it's you may not think of the region as a white wine area. These wines are beautifully balanced,
Yes.
delicious white wines that, as I say, we've gotten a reputation for our white wines. in an area that you think of as red wine country, you know.
They're beautiful. They're beautiful. Okay, we have another white wine that will come in the mixed shipment as well as the white shipment, but because it's an ice wine, we're going to go to that last,
Okay,
right?
sure.
Yeah. So let's move on to the reds. We're starting with the Pinot Noir, the HMR Vineyard Pinot Noir. I don't think I'm quite clean there. Go ahead. Again, this is a historic wine that we're pouring here
Thanks,
because
Cynthia.
it comes from the historic 50-plus-year-old vines that are here at Adelaida. Pinot Noir lovers, order up. This stuff is delicious.
We're emotionally attached to this wine. Yeah, I mean,
You're choked up.
yeah. It's, Pinot Noir is all about beauty and elegance and finesse and aromatics and something you just sip and savor. It's not meant to be a wine that is a full contact wine. It's meant to be something that maybe makes you think a little bit and ponder and savor the moment. And it's all about subtlety, complexity, femininity. It's a beautiful wine. It's not meant to be a hugely full-bodied wine. We'll come onto that a little later with the Zin and Cab. It's meant to be something that maybe just makes you do exactly that. You know?
That is, I mean, the one word is lovely, you know, and that's not a word that you throw around very easily. That is lovely. Now, and this is one, now I'm a believer, I pair reds with fish and
Sure.
whites with heavy steaks, I mean, whatever I'm feeling like, but this is one I would serve with turkey easily, no?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, I can just picture this with the cranberry sauce and
Cranberry flavors in the wine.
Exactly, exactly.
You know, not to get too geeky on anyone. I mean, Pinot Noir is, in my opinion, meant to be a medium-bodied, aromatic red wine that you sip and savor. And yes, again, we keep coming back to Thanksgiving, and I think that's where these versatile whites and something like a Pinot Noir has a perfect place. You know.
And this is a wine, folks, that if you have I hate to even use the term, a wine snob in your portfolio of Christmas gifts you have to get, that's a wine that anybody is going to appreciate, and yet anybody who's not even an avid wine drinker will appreciate as well. So this is a full spectrum wine, in my opinion, and it's coming from a historic vineyard. So the wine snob in your world will love the story and will love where it comes from, and will probably know the HMR vineyard. So cheers. I'm
Yeah, it's a
really
special
pleased
wine
to
for
be
us.
able to
Thank you.
offer this in Ruby Shoes.
Yeah.
All right, we talked about the finder. We move on to the keeper. The keeper is the pair, again, ties back to the history of the owners of this place.
Yes. Can I just?
That's not rude at all. I hate pouring out this Pinot. I have to have one more sip.
You know, I think it's worth just a brief revisit on the Pinot Noir. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, not much more than 10 years ago, that it was the biggest critique thrown at California is that they can never produce a world-class Pinot Noir. Well, that has absolutely been conquered and scaled, and this wine's been well received critically for us. It's gotten some significant accolades. It's been in a top 100 selection and publication. So it's a wine that it's a privilege to be involved with it, and the family here keeps the vineyard limping along, and the joke is that we lose a little less money on this vineyard every year. So we 1 ton to the acre.
1 ton to the acre. Yeah.
1 ton to the acre.
And the vines, they're getting old. Over time, we're going to have to replace them, so you're getting lower and lower yields every year. So it becomes more precious every time that we get it. And
that shows
fruit is beautiful.
the owner's commitment, though, to the history and to the artistry of growing grapes.
Yeah. And I've heard Cynthia say many times, you make the wines in a certain way with everything except Pinot Noir, and this is how you do it except with Pinot Noir. So it's the little prima donna that gets very well nurtured around here. Anyhow,
there you go. For the prima donna in your life, cheers. Okay, you guys go ahead and talk about the keeper, because I am not pouring out this Pinot.
Sure. So the keeper is the more easier going rendition of the two Rhone Reds we have, as the finder was to the version white, so the keeper is to the version red. It's a very traditional blend. The Southern Rhone Valley in France. The grapes you're probably the most familiar with, probably Syrah would be number 1, then Grenache. You may be familiar with Mourvèdre, and then there are a host of other grapes that are also used. So this is a blend of 5 grapes, predominantly Grenache.
With the Keeper, one of the things that's in it is this GSM blend that we're hearing about a lot here. So it's sort of GSM with a cherry on top.
Right. Sometimes it's GSM, sometimes it's MSG. Well, that doesn't sound great.
No, without the rush.
And GS, GMS, you'll find any combination of these Rhone varietals you can imagine in Paso.
GSM is Grenache, Mourvedre, Syrah. And then the cherry on top are the
Cinsault and Counoise.
Cinsault and Counoise. Okay, lovely pair to the Finder Keeper, a lovely everyday wine. And again, I wouldn't be embarrassed to take this to any holiday party that you have. And then we're moving on to what's next here. Oh, by the way, you're going to have the Keeper and this lovely Pinot and this ice wine, which we'll get to. And don't turn your nose up if you think you don't like dessert wines, because you haven't tried this yet. I'm not a big dessert wine person, but I love this. Okay, next to the version red. So we talked about the version white, and we go on to the version red. And that's, again, sort of stepping up from the Keeper.
It's the more
Go ahead and pour that, Cynthia.
rendition, yeah. It's the #1 selling wine in the tasting room.
Is it?
Yep, and as I travel around the country and have done for the last 10 years, so what Paso Robles is becoming, if you've been coming to Paso for a while, I would say you would associate the area with Zinfandel, and now what's getting us significant acclaim are these Rhone blends. The whites are world class. By default, it tends to be more of the red wine grapes that are planted, so you tend to see more of these red wine blends. And the term Paso blend has become a legitimate term. It can refer to either both a traditional legitimate blend, such as we have with the version red, which is a blend of these traditional Rhone Valley red wines, and a Paso blend can be absolutely anything that tickles your fancy. And
Zinfandel and Syrah.
Zinfandel and Syrah, yeah.
And I want to talk to you about this, Cynthia, as a winemaker, because I think that there is a little misconception that blends somehow mean it's a lesser wine, but the new generation of winemakers, I mean, that's artistry, right? You're like taking the best of everything and creating your own little masterpiece.
Absolutely, it's complexity. We add all these different varietals together because in some way they complement each other, or they add something different to the blend. It's like layering.
It's not because these wines don't stand alone.
Oh, not at all.
Right.
But that's fun too. I mean, try a Mourvedre or Grenache by itself. It's so wonderful. So for instance, Mourvedre tends to be a little more animalistic in nature, a little earthy.
I didn't say that.
She has some great descriptions, Paul. You need to take her on the road with you.
Grenache tends to add more of the strawberries, bright, like cranberry flavors. So it's super bright. Usually holds its acid pretty well as well. And then Syrah, of course, we all know Syrah. It's got that tar character, often blackberry, just deeper brooding flavors. And then the cherry on top, like you said, Cinsault and Counoise. And they vary year to year for us. So they can add sometimes brighter berries, sometimes we add them for the acid profile. Sometimes Counoise doesn't even go in there.
So could I just play the straight man here? So the term GSM, the majority of these wines are Grenache based, and ours is Mourvedre based. Would you address that?
Right.
Please.
We found that as far as for the backbone of the wine, which is the varietal that we put in with the most percentage base, we do that because Mourvedre tends to be a bigger, heftier, stronger character from our vineyards.
Well, that's what I was going to say. This is a wine I would probably move from the turkey dish to, or I'd need the stuffing with it, or I'd need something big with it. This is a big wine, in my opinion, and I have a feeling that's why it's a big seller in the tasting room.
Yeah, as I say, as I travel around the country, these blends, to address your point, have only recently become recognized as high quality wines. And so in the tasting room, when we pour in the wine and people get to taste it and we have a chance to explain what it is, it's become the #1 selling wine. Yeah. And it's only recently that on wine lists now and in stores around the country, you're seeing segments devoted to these Rhone style blends, which is great.
Yeah.
So if you want to be on the cutting edge, this is the way to go.
Yeah, the blends, you need to check them out, and you will always have one in a Ruby Shoe shipment because I love them. I feel like I'm checking out the art of the winemaker who has tasted all the grapes that are coming in and has decided to make this beautiful blend. And it's often the flagship wine of a winery is whatever their
I know
blend
Cynthia
is.
labours over making this wine, and 1% either direction of any of the 4 or 5 grapes that are in here can make it a different wine. I think the desire is to make something that the blend of the multiple grapes is something that holds your interest. You kind of go, what's this, what's that, what's going on here, you know?
Yeah, it takes weeks, sometimes months, it has on occasion, to get the blend just right, to get the best of all those varietals all in one bottle.
I'd like to come to that process. That must
It's
be
But
fun.
you got to start early in the day and
Yes,
finish by like
exactly.
2 if you want to drive home.
So big wine, drinkable on its own, but will pair wonderfully with a spicy meal, with a little stuffing, with some. I would serve that at a barbecue, you know, with a big
Yeehaw.
peppery steak
Yep.
and. Okay, speaking of big
Speaking of.
wines,
Served at a barbecue, we have Zinfandel.
Zinfandel is probably my favorite local red wine. It's what this area was known for. Paderewski put in the first Zinfandel vines here, a famous pianist and composer. It's the roots of Paso Robles, and so most wineries around here produce a wonderful Zinfandel. It may not be their flagship wine, but I think I have a bottle of everyone's Zinfandel in my cellar because they're beautiful.
I loved your term, the roots of Paso Robles. Can I use that?
Yes,
Thank you.
you're free to. Just take me on the road to some of these great tastings. Tell me about the Zinfandel.
Sure. I call it the John Wayne of wines. I mean, it's just suck it to you. I think it's enjoyed for its bold, bright, suck it to you flavors.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people say, well, I believe Zinfandel doesn't age. It's not that. It's that it's so irresistible upon release. It puts a smile on your face. It's just like, yeah, here we go. It's
the happy wine.
It's the happy wine, yeah, and great with anything off the grill. It can, it's a big, bold, straightforward, take it as you find it wine, yeah.
And the flavors that you will find in every Zinfandel are different. This one,
Yeah, it's a real
this one has some
chameleon,
real
yeah.
fruit to it.
Oh yeah, gorgeous blackberry,
Yeah.
raspberry,
Blueberry,
just springs forth,
yeah.
and a little bit of pepper.
Which is a characteristic of Zin.
Yeah.
I mean, it just cries for something, with a rub off the grill,
Yeah.
Grilled food, pizza, anything with red sauce. A lot of wines don't go well, I think, with the acidity that can be in tomato sauce. But Zinfandel is always a winner.
Because
for me.
it is high acidity.
Yeah, and it has those beautiful loud fruit qualities.
So this is your winter wine, folks. This is what you serve up. I'd serve this with my chili, with my
Okay.
gumbo,
There you go.
with,
Yeah.
a gumbo seems like it'd be a great pairing because you get a little bit of sweetness with that spiciness and that pepper back, and
I think it's the all-American grape, and it goes well with all-American classic all-American cuisine.
yeah, this is a lovely wine. I do encourage folks to take your shipment out and maybe open it at a holiday party, all of them, and let people taste the different subtleties and not so subtleties of the differences in these wines.
Somebody who wants something that's going to make you pay attention, this is the way to go.
Yeah, this is a wonderful shipment. Okay, so Zinfandel, it's one of my favorites of the reds here.
Great entry
Yeah.
wine too, if people aren't.
And then if you're gonna not, there's a great winemaker, Aaron Jackson. We sell his wine on our website. His saying is go big or go home. So we're not going home yet. We have a nice big wine here to pour.
Thanks, Cynthia.
This is your cab, right?
Correct.
The reserve, Viking Reserve, presumably. Yeah.
It is.
And speaking
2006.
of that, Minnesota viewers, here's your perfect Christmas gift, the Viking Reserve Vineyard, which is 10, 11 acres, right?
That's about it. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a small acreage, big wine that comes out of the Viking Vineyard. And so for your Viking fans, how about serving them a nice
This
big
is
wine?
our top-of-the-line reserve cab.
Yeah.
It's
And
the vineyard was planted in '91. It's on all our vineyards are on steep slopes. This is extremely steep. It's almost 1-to-1. I mean, I think you farm it in at least 3 different blocks.
Oh,
The
it's
top,
been even more
the
so
middle,
this year.
yeah.
We got even more heavy into tasting the differences between the swells in the
Yes.
vineyard. It's the top of the vineyard, the bottom of the vineyard, and the middle all taste differently.
wow.
So so we pick it several times over the course of harvest.
And it's
just
not
to
a big
get-
vineyard, as you say. I think it's about just over 10 acres.
Right.
So.
And it's a lot of hiking. Really good for your legs.
And in that deep calcareous soil, which is just, really earthy, so you're going to get those earthy flavors from this, right?
Right, earthy. I get the big bright cherry character of Cab right away when I smell this wine, complemented by some subtle oak vanilla flavors and a little smoky.
Smoky. Cab drinkers, this is the Christmas gift that you give to somebody special. This is not a wine that you're going to open because you had a stressful day and you need a glass of wine at the end of the day. Although, if you just believe you deserve to be treated well, by all means, cork that baby. But this is a big wine. This is, I would say, out of the shipment, this is the one to save for a special occasion.
Yes. You know, it is an '06 vintage, and in the tasting room, the number one question is, you know, how long can I keep my wines? When should I drink them? So again, as a guideline, and only as a guideline, and it's up to you what you like. If you like them fruitier, drink them younger. If you like more evolved, complex, subtle flavors, then, you know, drink wines with a few years of age on them. Again, a really good place to look at your red wines is about 5 years after the vintage.
That's a
So
good rule of
if
thumb.
you want to figure out what you personally like flavor-wise, so here's a wine that's 6 years old, and I don't like the term peak because it denotes a fall. I like the term plateau, and you know, this is an '06. It's 6 years old. There's plenty of forward, bright fruit there, and it's starting to develop some complexity that can only come with time in the bottle and age, and that's what it's all about.
So pretty special. We're offering a 2006 Big Cab to you. So, you know, I say it's the holidays. Celebrate it and open it up, or give it to somebody really special, but make sure you're there when they open it.
I mean, what are you saving it for? You know?
Yeah, what are you saving it for? These are fantastic wines. Beautiful, just a beautiful. I cannot believe you're pouring that out, Cynthia, but go ahead because
I have to work.
we're moving on to, she has
not.
to work,
I have
yes.
to taste about 15 Seigneur barrels.
Oh, the life
great.
of a winemaker. All right, so we're doing this, but yeah, the Don's going to finish us off, right?
Right, correct, Paul?
Any way you want, really. I mean, they're both
both-
dessert wines.
Okay, I am
Whatever
so
goes for you.
excited about these dessert wines, and as I said, I'm not a dessert wine person, but for the holidays, you need some water to
Oh yeah, thanks.
clear our glass. For the holidays, these are beautiful wines. I mean, the holidays are special occasions. That's when you're going to have people there eating throughout the day, relaxing. You maybe watch a little football game. You're looking at the after Christmas sales, and you just don't have room for dessert. But pull out one of these wines, and it's the perfect finish to a perfect holiday. The ice wine, you want this. This is icy cold. Whoops, sorry.
Yes. It's made from Viognier and Muscat, both of which are aromatic grapes. And the way it was explained to me, and I love what Cynthia said, is it's like a popsicle. When you suck on it first, that's when you get all that flavor, and then you get an ice cube. So the way they make this is, I'll just touch on it generally, and Cynthia can expand on that, is they freeze it. And so the term ice wine, you know, in Europe and up there in the Niagara Peninsula, I mean, it freezes, but we help it along here in-house. So they freeze the grapes or the must, and then separate out, sort of throw away the ice cube that's left. And it's a little bit concentrated, just again, stylistically. When it comes to dessert white wines, I think most other dessert white wines have a degree of that raisining, that creme brulee raisiny quality to them. Ice wine does not. It's very pure, very bright, very vibrant, very refreshing. Served cold and very clean.
What am I smelling? It's
Oh, that floral muscat character.
yeah,
Orange.
orange.
orange, yeah.
A little orange flavor to
Little
it.
honeysuckle,
Yeah.
little
It's very
white
aromatic.
flowers.
I mean, it's also known as
Oh.
belly button wine, but I can leave that to you much. Moving on.
Wow, I can't wait to hear the story behind that. Belly
know
button
nothing
wine.
about that.
She
No,
knows
nothing.
nothing. Lovely wine, and like I
Wow.
said, serious wine drinkers who think you're not into dessert wines, you need to try this.
I mean, look how we're all smiling. That's what it does.
It's smiley wine. It's
Yeah.
belly button wine. So
Wow.
lovely. This is coming in the mixed shipment as well as the whites and
You know,
reds. Red only members, got to order up because this is beautiful.
You think port and cheese? The latest thing is they're saying is white dessert wine is actually better with cheese.
You just that and some brie.
Blue
And it's
cheese.
also fabulous
little
with, it's great with fruit
chutney
desserts.
on it.
It's great with cobblers, fruits, pies.
Cobbler.
Yeah.
Chocolate.
Look at
So, no,
this.
it's beautiful stuff.
This is a beautiful dessert wine.
Very time consuming to make. It's a labor of love.
Yeah. She
too
loves it a
bad.
lot.
You have your people take care of it.
Right.
Her people do that. Okay, Dawn. The
Wow.
Dawn. We're pairing this with a cigar in our gift shop at Ruby Shoes, but this is a beautiful story. This is a beautiful wine. This is a beautiful port. Port drinkers, you have to add this. And if maybe some red wine drinkers or non-red wine drinkers, my mom doesn't like red wine, but her doctors told her that she needs to drink 2 ounces a day. She loves the Dawn, and maybe it's the picture on the label, but I think she just loves the Dawn. Tell me about it. This
Sure.
is named after the owner.
Yep, whose name is Don.
Yeah.
And he's definitely full of character, as is the wine. And like many people, he wasn't that partial to some of the more full-bodied, table wines. But something with, a little spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down, and he loved this. The vineyard's right under the house, right in front of the house as you come into the winery. And this is made from authentic Portuguese grape
Correct.
varietals.
Tell me.
Which is special.
Tariga, Suzal, and Tintacao.
Portuguese vines that are grown right here on your vineyards.
That's correct.
May I?
You have all estate wines, right?
And in some years, I get to make a still wine out of them, which is fun too.
What's a still wine?
A non-fortified wine. Like all the rest of these wines are still wines.
Okay,
Non-fortified, non-bubbly.
got it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Cheers.
there you go. Learn
Not
something.
bad
Cheers.
for October there.
What
Where are
a
we,
great
27th?
Yeah,
about it?
October 27th when we're tasting this. So
80
Midwesterners,
degrees
yeah, I know
today.
what your weather is like today.
Sorry.
But this will make you feel warm and fuzzy. It's good belly button wine. I can't wait to hear this story, and I'll write a blog about it, but we won't talk about it here. Maybe when I hear the story.
delicious.
Okay, so the Dawn, a great port, a great wine. I just have to tell you, Adelaida is just an amazing vineyard and tasting room. And the people here know their wines. They're friendly. If you come here, you won't feel any kind of snob factor, and yet you're going to be drinking wines that will compete with any wine anywhere. That's my personal opinion. And while it's a beautiful place to be, it's about the wine at Adelaida and about the people. So come out, meet the people, taste these wines. I'm just so thrilled to be able to send you such a variety of amazing wines and with an amazing history, and that seriously represent the Paso Robles region of California. So from sunny California, we wish you a happy holiday season. I hope you love your shipment, and if you want more, you know where to get them. Cheers,
Cheers.
everyone.
Thank you so much. Cheers.